All right, so when it comes to zero riders who've modified their bikes, you've done quite a bit to yours. How have you found the aftermarket community and availability of parts for
Mm.
zeros?
So the aftermarket part availability is pretty slim. Pretty
Because
slim.
zero offers some aftermarket stuff.
Yeah, like I don't know if it counts as aftermarket, but you can get the chain conversion from zero for the
Mm.
FXS. I believe that it works on the SR and DSR. I hope it does because I bought one. So I guess we'll figure that out in a future episode. Um, there's some windscreen stuff, but
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, anyway,
Not all that.
the big one is DigiNow. It has the DigiDongle and the DigiNow superchargers. Currently publicly available is the V2.0 is what they call it.
Mm.
They're developing and producing the 2.5 control board, which will have a lot of improvements. So, with DigiNow, they're doing a really awesome job with pushing the technology and creating things for zero owners that would otherwise not be available, which really ramps up the charging speeds.
Oh yeah, you go from like 9 hours down to 1 hour.
Yeah, if you have 3 charges, you can get it down to an hour. Um, and I think I don't know for sure, but I think 3 charges is the max you can go on a stock.
Oh yeah, before you go over 1C.
Yeah. No, I think with the V2.5 you might be able to do 4 charges
Oh
without
yeah.
messing with anything. Anyway, so they're doing really cool stuff. They're even coming up with a belly pan that you can have all 3 charges down there with the new V2.5 board. So I just want to start by saying the positive things about DigiNow because that's really awesome, and I really think that we need more companies out there that are doing that type of thing to push the technology forward and make it more. I'm having a difficulty here. Make the technology more available and more progressive, and that's something that's needed. It's a positive thing. Now, the things that they could improve on is, and I say this in a positive, constructive manner, but the products themselves don't have any branding on them. Not even when you get the package in the mail. And primarily, there is no instruction manual or like a user manual for these things. There's no instructions available online. So really, the only resources you have is like electric motorcycle forum,
Yeah.
and then word of mouth from people that have been there before you, which presents another issue. A lot of times, people who are knowledgeable, and I'm not going to name any specific names here because I don't want to get flamed, but not always forthcoming with the information, and almost the opposite. Maybe they feel like they've got to safeguard their knowledge, and I don't think that's going to help progress the electric motorcycle world, nor is it going to help the community. So I think moving forward is maybe as the company expands and they get more manpower, maybe they can afford to have somebody allocated to that type of documentation. But as of right now, it's kind of a struggle. And that it's not isolated to DigiNow. I mean, there's other companies out there that are developing bits and pieces for the motorcycle, and they seem to be very interested in keeping their product development shielded from the public eye. It seems like there's an element of the R&D that goes into something. I get that. You need to basically have a process to develop these products, and you don't want other companies getting a jump on you by spying on your development. But at the same time, when the product has gone public and you're selling it in a retail environment, I think you should be allowed to share pictures of your own bike and your own install publicly without the company asking you not to. So, kind of interesting there. I've told you before, and I'm going to tell the camera, that essentially giving my money to a company is easy, right? Because buying a product is a matter of a few clicks. But what's important to me is not giving my money for the product, it's the support behind the product, because what makes your company worthy of my money, right? Because there are several different companies that can make a paper cup, right? But if the cup is leaking, I mean, am I going to get a refund?
Mm.
You know what I mean? Or, you know, am I gonna call somebody and the phone continues to ring because nobody picks it up? So it's a matter of customer service. Customer service is very important to me. When I spend my money with a company, I'm not buying the product. I'm buying the customer service. For me personally. So if I run into a company where they get my money and then they essentially at that point disappear, and I don't mean that in a literal sense, but if I don't have their backing on their product, you know, it's a one and done, one night fling, so to speak, then I'm probably not going to give my money to that company again. And that's one of the things that, you know, kind of really play into the dynamics of people adopting electric vehicles. Let's say specifically the Zero motorcycle. You get the Zero motorcycle, which is already, I'm going to say high priced. And I don't mean that in a relation to what you get for the bike. I mean that in comparison to going in and buying an R3, an R6, an R1. You know, there's such a huge argument when I'm talking to people about an electric bike. It's like, well, how much did you pay for it? Oh my God, that's so expensive. And it's like, okay, I understand that. It's a new technology-ish. And I mean that, I know the electric motorcycle has been around for about 10 years, whatever, but the availability and the product that's available is young enough in the grand scheme of things that it is a new technology. And so when people are asking these questions and you tell them what the bike costs, immediately they're just kind of knee-jerk reaction, like, wow, that's so expensive. But when you break it down component by component, it's pretty fairly priced. The obstacle that we run into is that price point versus a gas bike. And it's a fairly strong concern for people who are looking to either adopt or, you know, that are not necessarily willing to adopt. So what the point I'm trying to make is you pay for the bike itself, which is already a pretty high price. And then if you want to add a factory available charge tank, you know, you're spending more money to add to the sticker price. Or you get the power tank, right? Because I already said charge tank.
Yeah.
Again, additional sticker shock. But you move into the aftermarket world, and you're talking thousands and thousands of dollars for aftermarket chargers. And that is very hard to pitch to somebody who's looking to possibly convert over to electric when you're talking about a bike that already has that starting price point, and then you're adding easily $2,000 to $3,000 just to reduce the charge time down to, I mean, do you want to call it a reasonable time frame? Because if you get 2 charges, you're looking at 2 hours, and excuse me, if you get 3 charges, you're down to about an hour. Of course, from flat to full. And, you know, for somebody who already owned the bike for 2 years, coming from 8 hours down to 2 or even an hour is an astronomical improvement. But to somebody who's never owned a bike before, well, never owned a Zero specifically.
Even an hour is crazy.
Yeah, not only is the hour crazy, but price point of the bike,
Yeah.
additional funds for the chargers.
Yeah.
It's really hard to convince people that that's a reasonable thing.
Yeah.
Right? Because, again, let's just pick on an R3. You can get an R3 for about, let's just say about $4,000 brand new, right? Is that reasonable? And then you fill it with gas. There's no additional cost on top of that just to go out and ride with your buddies.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you add up the gas, eventually it'll break even. But
Yeah, but you don't have to pay for the gas up front.
true.
You're not buying a membership of gas for the next 2 years.
Pretty much everybody asks me, how long does it take to charge? Because they know, you know, stuff takes like 8 or 9 hours. And when you say 1 hour, then they're like, oh, okay, that's not too bad. I mean, still, an hour is more than 5 minutes on a bike, like gassing it up. But how much does that hour cost? That's the thing that they don't really factor in. They're like, oh, how much is the bike? 16 grand or something. Like, oh yeah, okay, that's a lot. But then they think that 16 grand bike charges in an hour.
Yeah.
And it doesn't.
Well, can we talk about charging for a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay. Because
Charging.
Ubanaka.